Welcome friends, Ed here from Graveyard Excursions. Hope you guys are all doing well. Today I'm at Painesville Riverside Cemetery. And I'm here to visit a good friend of mine. He was buried here September 15th, 2022. And his name is Matthew Funk. And I've known Matt for over 15 years. And I still can't believe that if I need to visit him, I have to come here to see him. Let me tell you a little bit about Matthew Funk. He was a dishwasher at a restaurant that both me and Michelle worked at. And I would meet him quite a bit because we were there 7 days a week cleaning this restaurant. And he would be the dishwashing guy who would be there at night closing. So, you know, you always end up talking to people a lot of times when they're on their way out and you're on your way in. And he was always a good guy, someone that you could always, you know, he always had a joke for you, you know. And all his jokes always seemed to, like I would be saying, man, this job, it's just too much for me sometimes. And he goes, oh, that's what she said. You know, one of those guys that always says, that's what she said. And he also had a way of always mixing in a blonde joke with with his little repertoire of jokes. Like, what do you call a four-way stop with 4 stop signs and 4 blondes? And I go, I don't know, Matt. What do you call that? Okay. A traffic jam. Oh, yeah, Matt. Good one. Yeah, they were corny jokes, but that was just the way Matt was. And we would call my nick. Everyone else knew him as Matthew Funk, but I knew him as the Funkinator. And yeah, he was a good guy. And he always had a new job on the horizon that was going to pay him $25 an hour. And you know, who am I to say that you're not going to get that job? You might get that job. It'd be pretty awesome if you got that job. And sometimes he would get that job, but the job never would last. It would always be something that he would be there for maybe a few months, and then they would crunch the numbers and find out, you know, we need to make cutbacks, and you're the new guy. So I'm sorry, Matt, but here's your walking papers. And the one constant through all this is he was always there for me and Michelle when we needed somebody to step in and help us with our evening work. And that was always a big thing because, you know, we work quite a bit. But anyway, Matthew was always that guy who would be there for you when you needed him. Yeah, sometimes he had a job, but he was also a hardworking guy. I think he was like 45 when he passed away. And he never got married, and he lived with his mom and dad until the day he died. And he had medical issues. I knew this because quite often I would see him with marks on his face because I think he had suffered a brain trauma in his early life and suffered from epilepsy. He had some pretty nasty grand mal seizures. And a lot of times when these seizures would get really bad, he would hit his head on something and he would come in with marks on his head. And he had to take so much medication to keep these seizures under control. And you could tell that it slowed him down, you know, like in his mind. A lot of times he wouldn't think things through properly. He just wanted to go for that money. And a lot of times, you know, that job would sound great on paper, but you always had to worry about, is this job going to be too much for you, Matt? Can you handle it, you know? He had a job working, you know, those guys that do the flagging on the roads. You know, you'll see them, one guy there with the stop sign and another guy with the go sign. And he was working for one of those road crews as the flagger. And they paid pretty good money. And I was always happy for him that he was going to make good money, but his luck was that he was there on a day when some guy in a pickup truck didn't care that he had the stop sign and blew right through the intersection and hit Matt. And Matt went flying. And he suffered a serious neck injury And I think he did some really, I'm shocked he made it through that. But he messed up his leg. He had to go for multiple weeks of rehab on that. He had to have a surgery on his neck. In fact, when he did pass away, he was still just starting to finish up his rehab on his neck, and then they were going to start working on something on his knee or something like that. So he was in a lot of pain at the end there. So, while that was all gone, he was giving me updates, and he had this girl that he had met, not in person, but through the internet. They were in some kind of a chat group. I can't quite tell you what the name of the chat group was, but he was like, she's the one. Her name is Carly. She lives on the west side of Cleveland. She looks after her grandma. And, oh my God, I love her, And I'm like, Matt, what do you know about her? Oh, I know enough. She takes care of her mom and, this and that. And we meet, we're like meant for each other, And I go, well, have you met her? He goes, no, I haven't, but that's going to happen. And I'm like, okay, well then I found myself in the process of getting 2 tickets to the Guardians game back in 2022. And I said, Matt, here's 2 tickets. I don't want to go to the game. I'm still unhappy about the Guardian name change and all that. But anyway, he was like, yeah. I said, why don't you take Carly to the ball game? And this would be a great neutral place to meet for the first time and see how she is and stuff. So he got a hold of her, texted her out. And at first, she seemed like she wanted to go to the game. But on the day of the game, he was all ready. And she texted him and told him something had to come up. And she couldn't make it. And you could tell he was crushed because he literally went to the ball game by himself and sat in those seats right behind home plate with an empty seat next to him. And that really made me sad because I know how much he was looking forward to meeting her. And then that happened. So, while we would go to jobs, we did a lot of things together outside of work. We would go to conventions for the auto show, train convention. He loved his model training thing. And, we went a few times out to dinner. You may have even seen some of the videos of him with us at the main event, the gaming place. I just wanted to keep his mind in a positive place because I know he was going through some tough times at home, and he really wanted to get on with his life and move away from being under the roof of his parents. But with all his medical conditions and his parents getting older in age, I was starting to say, maybe this is not such a bad place for you to be. Maybe being at home with your mom and dad is the best way, the safest way. And then, because they're going to be needing you to look after them. They're already, his dad is in his 80s, or his stepfather, and his mom was, in her late 60s or something like that. So, I just didn't know what to do. But I got, if this girl, Carly, is the one for you, then you need to really try to meet her. Because I'm going to tell you, you guys, she had never met with him. They had never actually seen each other face to face. And that's a problem, I think. I think you really need to know who you're, because next thing you know, he's saying, oh, I actually have proposed to her and we're going to get married. Maybe 3 years from now, but it's already a done deal, Ed. I already have the place for the honeymoon and everything. I paid in full. We're going to go to Kalahari and, I don't know, Wolf Lodge or something. I'm like, are you nuts? I mean, Matt, you're great, but you can't do this until you know more about her. And believe it or not, he agreed with me. Finally, he said, look at that, all the bikers over there. That's pretty cool. Hopefully, man, wow, that's pretty intense. But anyway, he pushed it. I had him. It was Wednesday, September 14th, I think. It was a Wednesday. And I'm telling him, you got to find a way to meet Carly, because I'm going to try to get more tickets for you guys to another ball game. So she lives on the west side. He gets in the car and he drives out to the west side to go to her house, because I guess they exchanged addresses and stuff like that. And then he had to help Michelle at one of our jobs in Solon. So he showed up a little bit late for the job. Michelle told me that he seemed a little down, a little sad. So, but he did his job. He went home that night, Wednesday night, and Thursday morning comes rolling around, and it's like 9 o'clock, or no, around 11:30. No, it's around 9 o'clock in the morning that I'm trying to call him on his phone to see how everything went with his meet with Carly. And he's not answering the phone. And I'm thinking, okay, this is weird. He usually answers the phone. So I give it a half an hour. He still doesn't call me back. I try again, and he still doesn't answer the phone. And now I'm starting to get concerned. Anyway, it's already 11:30 that morning. We're at a job, and the phone rings. And it's his call coming in. It's got his name on it. And I'm like, oh, thank God. All right. I answer it, and it's a guy on the phone. And he tells me that he's Matt's brother. I didn't even know that he had a brother, okay? But Matt, he goes, what's going on? I go ask him, what's going on? Where's Matt? He goes, Matt, he died last night. I'm like, what? What? We found him in the morning by the TV with blood. Well, he didn't actually tell me that, but he did pass away in the middle of the night. And this is where he's at now. May 14th to September 15th, 2022. He's married with his grandma over here, Jennifer French. Yeah, unbelievable. But it turned out that he was late. I found out at the funeral home that he was fine when the parents were watching TV with him that night. He stayed up late to watch TV after they had already gone to bed. And when they woke up in the morning, the TV was off. He was laying right by the TV with a pool of blood around his head. You know, you have so many things that could have gone wrong, between a seizure that may have happened in the middle of the night and he hit his head, or he had a brain embolism or something like that. With the different things that he had going on with his epilepsy, anything is possible. There was not an autopsy done. They just felt like it was natural causes of some sort. And now I'm talking to you about him down there. Matthew Funk, May 4th, 1976 to September 15th, 2022. And I still can't believe it. I still can't believe it. If you know anything about Matthew, or if you have anything you would like to add to this, please put it in the comments. This guy was a good guy. Yeah, he just needed a break. He just needed a break. And I feel like every time he thought he was going to get a break, something else went in the wrong direction for him. But I really do believe that he's in a better place right now. But I do miss him very, very much. He was a good guy, and he deserved better, a lot better. But anyway, thank you all for joining me here for the Graveyard Excursions in Painesville Riverside Cemetery. Stay safe, everyone, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. And joining Michelle is Matt. You may have seen him in one of our previous videos when we went to the Berea train show. How you doing, Matt? Good. Ready to check out some new cars? Yeah. All right, let's get to it.